What is going on, everyone? So I got a video going on and we're going to be talking about not warframe today. We're going to be talking about Borderlands in particular, from all the games, as well as what we have seen from Borderlands 4 because of state of play with Sony. Dude, I'm looking forward to Borderlands 4. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be wonderful, but even from the trailer, I don't think it still is matching what I want for right now. Even though it's just a trailer, we haven't got our hands on it, we haven't played it, so like until the game really comes out, I gotta save truly how I feel about it. But at the moment, I kind of feel like it's not fully there yet, because in my head, how I see the Borderlands franchise is the end game. It's the farming aspect, it's the replayability of it, and that's what I'm looking forward to with a Borderlands. But for this, don't get me wrong, I am glad that we have so many different quality of things that's so much better. Okay, I'm still just a little worried. What is going on, everyone? Lo-Fi knows. So look, I was going to make a video about Borderlands because it's just been on my mind. I tweeted about it on Twitter, and yeah, I was saying how the game wasn't it. Like, there was a lot more they had to talk about. But bro, when I saw this a little bit yesterday on Twitter and what people was talking about, and like PAX East, they delivered on this. So I saw a couple of it, but not a lot. But I want to talk about some of the parts that I really saw that's really interesting to me. And so yeah, that's what we're gonna get to see. And so I think Borderlands is saved. If this goes great, like, the game is saved, bro. So let's just go ahead and get into it. I also put this like speed up because they just take too long talking.
Or Golden Fist, but
all right, guys. So look, I'm back. I had to go out with family real quick, but we gotta get this video done. I'm gonna put it out. It's gonna be there for you guys. So go ahead and talk about this Vex. It's the Siren. I love it. I really want to play like Dead Ringer or the Incarnate. I think those two abilities really scream me out. The cat is cute and all, I get it, but I'm not really feeling it. And until I played Flak, I get it, but I'm not too much big on the cat. But I am looking forward to the other two abilities. I'm not gonna lie, Rafi, he doesn't really interest me the most as a character, but I do like the fact that he's the most agile. So I think, you know, that reminds me of like Zero, for instance, and like Zane and those characters. So that's gonna be pretty cool to see, but I'm not too big on him. Harlow, not even gonna lie, if I don't play Siren, I'm playing this character. Like, she just interests me. The gravity ability alone, picking them up, throwing them down, it just interests me. The character look, the ability, everything, I want to play this character. Amon, I don't really like to play a lot of brawling characters. I don't, but man, my man is big and strong and stoky. Okay, I like that. I like. And I already seen like a little bit of this, but he can pretty much use any type of melee, it seems. Like, he uses like whips, spears, and all those different melees, bro. I'm in love. I want to play the Viking. I think out of every single character I've seen so far, Saren, the Halo, and Amon, those are the three I really, really want to play. Outside of that,
I will tell you that if you are going to worship vault monsters and decide to open
so good.
That's not going to
bruh. Got all these different freaking melee weapons. I already know the two that I really want to try, but man, I'm really interested just to see how his skill tree is going to play out.
He's got everything that you might expect from a sci-fi Viking, because that's pretty, awesome. Like, I can just get on a bike and cook, and there's so many cool chassis.
I can just get on a bike and cook. Like, right there, it says it all, bro. I can get on a bike and cook. I can get on a bike and cook, bro. Okay, before he say anything about the compass, I'm just gonna be real, guys. I don't understand why some people are like so drawn to talking about this. It was in Borderlands 1, the compass, and then from Borderlands 2 onwards, never had a compass anymore. It was just mini map. Me personally, I don't care which one we have, but I dislike how maps are to a certain degree. So like, I look at like from Monster Hunter standpoint, it's annoying to try to understand, especially when the map is like top to bottom, and sometimes it's hard to know where you need to go in certain spots. But when I played Borderlands 3, it wasn't as bad, but I still had moments where I was like, I don't really know, because the map is transversal and you have to go up instead of down. So to me, that was weird. I think there's just a better way to do it, but I don't really care whether we have the minimap or don't. My biggest concern on this part is they gotta have it to where we can at least like see our drops. So if I kill something across the map, okay, then it drops like a legendary. Hey, I can see this on the map, letting me know. Okay, or like give me like an indicator that I'm getting shot in my booty cheeks because I'm not looking at the enemy. I think that's really it. That's all I care about the minimap conversation. But generally, I've been seeing a little bit on Twitter, some people throwing a fit about, oh, they should have had the regular minimap, why did they change it? And then you got some people like, well, you know, the compass is what it is, I don't really care. And you got some people like, no, it's just better. So like, I don't think it's that deep. People don't need to make it that deep. It's really just that. I mean, they'll probably put it in for it as well, but yeah, it's really not that deep, to be honest with you guys.
Look, here's the deal. You guys haven't played the game yet. You know, obviously, when we did Borderlands 1, we didn't have a mini-map, and we added it in Borderlands 2. And we noticed that there's some people online going like, wait, we haven't seen the mini-map in what you've shown so far. What's going on there? I'll tell you the deal. I'll just be straight with you. We made a big freaking world. And a lot of the things you do can be local space, but a lot of the things you do or want to do are out there. And a local space map is not a good way to navigate when you're thinking about objectives and opportunities, several at the same time that might be miles away. And a compass really helps us do that. The other thing that the team really wanted to commit to, these guys are awesome, and they want to push the boundaries of design and environment. Instead of just a single flat plane, they embrace a lot of verticality. You're going to have more verticality in Borderlands 4 than you've ever seen before in a Borderlands game by far. And when you have a layered environment, a top-down two-dimensional view is extremely confusing. But with a compass with arrows that tell you if things are up or down.
See, like that to me is where I get confused at.
Or you have a much better sense of spatial awareness. And we want you to play the game and not play the map. So we made a commitment and we put all of that investment into this compass system. And we still have the big map. It's one click away. And we put more cool stuff in there than we've ever done before.
And then on top of that, as I think about it, especially for me personally, as a Borderlands 3, 2, 1, and I played all of them, I always just click the menu button to look at the big map. Overall, like, yeah, I pay attention to the mini map on my right, but generally I just use the big map majority of the time. I need to find something that I would need to do anyway. So
even have like an AI.
I'm gonna be real. She's explaining Echo 4, but as long as she's better than Paimon, that's all I give a crap about. Okay, look at me good. Okay, she better be good, better be better than Paimon. If she or he, if that thing is just like Paimon, I'm gonna lose it. That's all I give a crap about. Okay, I'm thinking Echo 4 is at least gonna be better than Paimon. Okay, but please be better than Paimon. I like this ideal with the manufacturers stuff that they brought to Borderlands 4. I think this right here is the best ideal they have ever came out for these weapons, and I hope to God that they keep this type of thinking for their next generation of games if Borderlands 4 is successful and they keep it going. This makes it to where you don't have to sit down and be like, okay guys, so we got to come up with new weapons. What is the new legendary weapons that we have to come up with? Okay, we already made the Unkept Herald about the 30th time. Okay, this time we're gonna make it with all elements. Whoop-de-doo. Okay, or hey, we have an infinity pistol. Can we just put another element for it? With this, I feel as though it brings more diversity with the guns, even for the legendaries. And that's what I'm looking forward to. And then on top of that, like as you play through a lot of the Borderlands games, if you haven't, a lot of the weapons kind of followed into the manufacturer sense. Like for an example, if you got a TDR back in Borderlands 3, then you knew it's a throw weapon. Like it always threw, no matter what, it always. If you got like a Jacobs, majority of the time, Jacob weapons are like not element based. Some are, some were, but generally wasn't. And then it was like high damage or high crit, which made sense. Mali 1 is more like a Borderlands 3 thing, again, where it was more element focused, especially in Borderlands 3 when we got a lot of like legendary weapons. It was really good with those. Torg, of course, explosions. Okay, so I'm really happy with this line of thinking for the guns. It just makes it a lot more easier, and it doesn't make us to rebuild the same weapons the 30th time. I'm glad they're not choosing to make it to where we can craft weapons. I think that is really terrible if they did this, and I'm so glad if you remember playing this from Borderlands pre-sequel, then you have the crafting system where you put 3 weapons, whether it's the same type of weapon or like the same type of legendary, whatever case may be, you throw it in and it's supposed to like throw you out like a legendary or whatever else like variant or different variant of the gun, or just a new gun altogether. I didn't like that because it was annoying farming for a lot of stuff, and that was the only way to truly farm for a lot of stuff in pre-sequel. So I'm glad that they're not going down the building the gun route.
We're going to do enhancements. That's another thing. Like you're going to be kind of want to round up, specific.
Okay, so enhancements, I was kind of like confused by this. I didn't really understand what they meant by it, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna explain it.
Manufacturers.
Enhancements, they come back in the form. They were called artifacts in BL3, and we're calling them enhancements in BL4.
Okay.
They're a way to modify
So there was artifacts.
playstyle. So if you really favor a manufacturer like Jacobs and you want to have that crit behavior that kind of ricochets the bullet, you can have that on another gun that has a Jacobs license part with the Jacobs enhancement, so that now a torque with a Jacobs license part can now ricochet their sticky gyro jets on other targets.
In our Eagle Eye community saw something that looks like set bonuses. There's airstrike there. What is that?
Yeah, so for the first time ever, we're adding firmware, which is our end-game system, and it's one of our end-game systems to help boost the power of the gear. And as you can see in this screenshot, there's 3 parts to it, and if you can get all 3 parts, you get a big damage or utility increase.
That sounds like.
I'm not gonna lie. I think this right here is the best thing I can think of when it comes down to the artifacts for a lot of different things, because if you played Borderlands 3 or Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, I hate the what is it called? The set. Okay, I'm just gonna call it stat bonuses. So to make sure that we're all on the same page, someone's gonna help me out here. It's where the gun, let's say you play Moe's in Borderlands 3, it'll say, hey, once you exit out of Iron Bear or Iron Cub or whatever, you get certain like stat. And to me personally, I hate that. I hate that, and I also hate it how Tiny Tina Wonderland has it. I think that is the worst thing to have on guns, because yeah, you can be like, yeah, that helps my build out, it makes it better, but that makes it more inclined to farming the weapon for that particular stat on the gun than opposed to farming for the gun itself. And majority of the time we're farming for guns. We're not farming for like stat particular to your character for that gun. And that to me is why I disliked it Borderlands 3 and also Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Those two things, that one thing is why I dislike it. It's so bad, so very bad. So I'm glad they're stepping away from that, and I hope that does not return. If it returns, I'll deal with it, but I really don't want to see that. I truly don't want to see that. It was really annoying playing BO3, and I'm farming for this particular type of weapon. I finally get it, and then I get cucked over because it doesn't have Iron Bear, or it doesn't have after action skill ends. That that to me, I disliked it. I really did. Okay, and can I just say this too? I think Borderlands 3 and Tiny Tina's Wonderlands had the best like action skills, like build quality I've ever seen in all the franchises. Like, just gonna be real, and I think really Borderlands 3 had the best version of this. I truly think that Borderlands 3 had the best. The fact that we got like augments, and then we have different ways to change the action skill entirely, even though it still goes down that same skill tree, I enjoyed that. I think ultimately, and on top of that, I'm going to make this statement as well. I think Borderlands 3 really was their best Borderlands if you just turn off your eyes to story. If you're like, I don't care about the story at all. Don't know what Borderlands 3 story is. Never heard of it before. I'm only here to play the guns, get the weapons, play my favorite character. Story doesn't exist in my eyes. What is that? Borderlands 3 did the best. Because the gunplay, the abilities, the OP, I think that was just handled really well for that particular game. I would say, yes, Borderlands 2 is the best. I get it. But really deep down, Borderlands 3 is where it's at. Truly, that's really where it's at. It just, what really flopped for the game was the story. If you literally put that aside and you play the game itself, the game is better. The game is better than Borderlands 2. I just have to say that. There's no way to really argue that. But some people feel differently, but generally Borderlands 3 is where it's at. That's why, again, the game is following it into the footsteps of Borderlands 3. It's not changing back to Borderlands 2 retrospect or how it looks. So I'm glad. I'm so glad because Borderlands 3 had too many legendaries, dude. Like, if you haven't played Borderlands 3, that game just had too much legendaries going on. At that point where some legendary just wasn't legendary at all, some legendary was trashy compared to other ones, and some was just like, that shouldn't be a legendary. So I'm glad that they're stepping away with trying to make legendaries more common, and then now making them more rare. It's just a lot better.
Dedicated drops across the whole game. Every boss, every mini boss will have dedicated drops.
I don't know why they tried this out in Wonderlands. I think that was like just a terrible idea. Make it to where it's more like Borderlands 2 to 3, where certain areas or certain bosses or certain enemies drop this particular thing for this particular thing to get what you want for this particular thing. Simple. Makes it easier. Everyone didn't have no issue with that. I just hope what he's saying will actually happen when the game launches. I think the fact that dynamic level scaling, individual difficulty, that is really, really good. And the drop in and drop out for co-op and the instant loots for each player. And lastly, like crossplay, I am so thankful we're finally getting to that point. And I keep saying this, I think majority of now, games just need to be able to play with console people, and PC people just need to be able to play with consoles people. I don't see the point of just making it console only unless you just have like your story-based games, which that's fine with me. But games like this and LPS, just make it crossplay. It's very simple. You get everyone together. It just be more natural. So I'm really happy with this more than anything.
We're leading the charge there. Other game developers, like, do it, man. I love your games too, but frick, man, why are you promising co-op and then gimping out? Like, give it to us. You can do it. Co-op. Well, that's it for.
Dang. I just hope what he said right there, he actually means it for this game, and I hope it goes well. And I look at that and I say Genshin Impact is what failed right there. I really don't care about the magic stuff. I really care about the Q&As. That's more important.
We can get to them. Let's fly through these.
Okay, we'll fly. Speed round.
Grant, are Invincibles coming back?
Yes, to be announced in a later date.
Randy,
Okay.
do you want to know more about the end game?
Yes.
We'll say more very soon.
Listen, we're going to talk more about Endgame soon, but and in fact, some of us are going on a press tour, and we're going to be showing some of that stuff. And we have an event coming up in June that we're affectionately calling our BFF event, and we're going to be kind of getting into some of that too. So, and we'll broadcast it, but there's also going to be people live, and some of your favorite streamers will be streaming from the event, so that'll be good. And that's coming
That'd
up
be
in June.
good.
Grant, do overworld enemies respawn without save quitting?
Yes, overworld enemies do respawn, just like in previous games. It's on a timer. There will be a machine to respawn bosses and mini bosses, though, based off of how fast the player kills them.
Yeah, there's like a literal machine you could use to just make the boss reset so that you can grind him again if you want.
That's so much better, bro. Like, I hated the saving and quitting, bro. I'm so glad we finally got to the point where saving and quitting is just over with at this point. So glad.
Nick, will Badass Guardian rank make a return?
Yeah, there is an endgame specialization system that it's going to be very similar to the badass system in the past games, but it's actually going to have meaningful choices, and it won't just be like put points into this, that, and the other thing to get like a flat bonus. There will actually be behaviors, and you will have to make some hard choices. But we'll talk about that a little bit more later.
Turns out we're talking about
Badass rank, I'm not gonna lie, I really liked it, Tiny Tina's and Borderlands 3's version of it, but I liked it BO3's more. I hope it goes well. I hope they have the ideal of having those two types of ways of the ranking system, but they're saying it's gonna be more of a choice. So it sounds like to me that if I play one character, then swap to play my other character, then level that one up, it'll have a whole different rank to go with that in particular. So that's going to be kind of interesting to just see if that works like that or if it doesn't. But I just hope they keep it more of like a Borderlands 3 type of ranking system.
a lot of Endgame.
Randy, I got a tough one for you here.
Oh, you got a spicy one for me?
I don't really answer.
Why is it always me that asks that? All right.
What will the game's price be? That's an interesting one. I don't know this.
Really now? I'll tell you the truth. I don't know. And that is the truth. I'll hit it. I'll hit it straight on. And it's an interesting time, right? We've got on one level, we've got a competitive marketplace where people want to, or the people that make those choices want to sell as many units as possible, and they want to be careful about people that are price sensitive. So there's some folks that don't want to see prices go up, even the ones deciding what the prices are. There's other folks accepting the reality that game budgets are increasing, and there's tariffs for the retail packaging.
Yep.
Like, it's getting gnarly out there, you guys. Borderlands 4 has more than twice the development budget than Borderlands 3.
Twice.
More than twice. So the truth is, I don't know what the price is going to be. I do know that we will be opening pre-orders soon, Tia, and that will be when the price is set. I think that Borderlands 4, here's the philosophy we have. Whatever the price is, we're entertainers. Yes, we want to get more resources so we can make bigger and better games. There's a reason why Borderlands 4 is so awesome. It's because you guys showed up and supported Borderlands 3. And we had the budget, so we could more than double the budget and feel confident in that. And that's awesome. When the revenue comes in, we can spend it to make bigger games and better games. As artists, we want everybody to have it. You know, we want to make it as easy as possible for everybody to enjoy what we're creating. So it's a weird thing, but the fundamental philosophy is we want people to buy it so we have the resources to make more, but we want everyone who buys and plays a Gearbox game to feel certain that they got the better end of the bargain. whatever the price is, that they got the best value. And that's the philosophy that we live by. And so we're going to have a price set soon, and it might be the new price that like Nintendo and Microsoft have led with. It might be that we stay back. It's going to be the people at, at the publishing house that decide that. And if it is cheaper, then maybe we'll sell you that mini map that you guys want, that we'll develop later.
I like how genuine Randy is in this moment about it, because I do agree with how we have tariffs and all this other stuff. It's kind of weird. And even right now, like I've seen a lot of like Nintendo stuff, like the Nintendo Switch situation, and a lot of people hated that. And even the games, like that was ridiculous how they made it like $300 or $400 or $500 and then turn around and make the games like 80 or 90. That's ridiculous to me. Me personally, I don't agree with how game companies are trying to make games more upscale. And again, games are supposed to be enjoyable. Games are supposed to have fun. Games are not supposed to be something where you have to feel it's more like, what's the word I want to use? Like rich in order to play these games. And that's just dumb to me. I like it more where anyone can just enjoy the video games, because that was the whole point of it, just to have fun. So I'm glad that he is talking about that, and I'm glad that he's just being honest about it. But ultimately, I'm kind of worried. I don't want the game to be like $120 or $130 or $140, but I'm gonna get it because I want to really play Borderlands 4. But it just sucks that we're in this time where game companies, and if you ain't really on the artist people, it's not really them, it's more of the money hungry people that just wants to sell and get more money in their pockets. It's just sad how certain games and certain game companies want to be like this. But I'm hoping it doesn't be like that. But if it is, then I'm gonna buy it still, because I know I want to play it to get my thoughts about it. But yeah, I just hope it won't be like that.
And Grant, what will the rarity levels be?
Rarity levels will go from common to legendary.
Thanks, Grant.
There's your gray, there's your green, there's your blue.
I don't like how you're saying
There's
that,
your
by the way.
purple,
And then there's orange.
there's your orange, there's your
Hold on.
troll. I'm such a troll.
Last one I'll ask here. After collecting
So we may get pearlescence. We may get it. I just hope if they're going to do pearlescence, and if you guys didn't know what pearlescence is something in Borderlands 2 that you get once you get to OP10. You fight invincibles, you get this currency, this little crystal looking thing. You get the weapons from them by buying them, or sometimes they will drop, and then you can pick them up from defending the invincibles. I'm hoping that this time that these weapons actually be what they are supposed to be, because I didn't really use pearlescent weapons. I don't know about other people, but to me, pearlescence wasn't really that good of weapons, even though there was a higher tier weapon. So maybe someone feels differently on this when they see this, but I don't really see them as useful as what they came out to be. So
vault key fragments, can you repeat the same vault over and over again?
Yes, you can.
Rerun your vaults.
Yes, rerun your vaults.
Awesome.
There's
Okay.
spectacular loot hidden behind.
You do have to start the entire game over. No, I'm kidding.
Give a round of applause to everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
that's pretty cool. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm happy. I'm happy with what they talked about. I'm happy what Randy said. I'm happy with what Borderlands people and the devs showed us, because I'm not gonna lie, and I said this at the beginning of my video that I was making before this, before PAX East dropped this, I was worried. Like, I don't really think that Borderlands was gonna be the game. I still kinda ish feel this, but I feel it less now. I think the game has so much more to offer now. I think the game can literally stand up to what it used to be, a good franchise, a good loot and shooter, because still to this day, we don't have that. If we look at a lot of loot and shooters to this day right now, no one can really argue against me that Warframe, Destiny, and Borderlands, if we only look at Borderlands 2, was really the best loot and shooter. Outside of that, there's not really too many loot and shooters that really stand up to this argument. You got a couple maybe, and that really just replaces Borderlands if we're talking about now. But to me personally, if we only look at Borderlands 3 and we take away story, compare that with Warframe and Destiny, those are the only big ones that's really staying up to this day, and it's still good. And I've been seeing a lot of people talk about Destiny, it's not that great anymore. But anyway, outside of that, okay, everyone has their different opinions. I still think those are the really only ones. And I play a lot of different loot and shooters. I think at first, that first Ascendant was gonna be a good loot and shooter. I haven't played it in a while. I stopped playing it. It just felt too grindy, too just like Warframe a lot more. I think it's just better. But yeah, I just hope that this game really is gonna be the Borderlands that it's supposed to be. Because at this point, if it doesn't cook, that's it for Borderlands 4. That's it for Borderlands franchise, to be honest. I don't really think there's no way to come back from this. Truly, I truly don't. And then you got the people who just play Borderlands 2 to the end of the earth, nothing else. They'll play the mods. But then you look at Take Two for an example, or my fault, Take One or whatever, Take One or Take Two. They're changing how, you know, it's cool to use mods or whatnot. So nowadays we can't even use mods at this point. Yeah, I'm hoping. I'm more happy, but still worried. But I really want the game to flourish. And that's really it. That's all I really wanted to say. I was gonna make this more of like a longer video about like all the different Borderlands, but I don't really see the point of it. Other than that, I guess I can just leave off with why I stopped playing Borderlands, and that's because of how Borderlands just been treated. I seen the movie and I didn't like how Borderlands was going. It just made me sad to see how my beloved franchise of a game that I grew up with as a kid and all the way up to now, and I'm like 22, just flopped. It just did terrible. And then I see on Twitter and I see like how certain things go about, seeing drama. It just wasn't it. The game just wasn't it. Even if Borderlands 2 was the greatest, even if I still say that Borderlands 3 is the better Borderlands out of all of them, but just minus story, it just made me not want to play it because of those things. But I'm happy now that, you know, Borderlands 4 looking more promising. And lastly, to end this off on a good note and to make people get mad in the comments, if I was gonna put all these mods in a tier list, it was gonna be Borderlands 4 right now for S tier. If it goes crazy, if it just goes crazy, S tier. Next we got Borderlands 3. Close your eyes, okay? Close your eyes, don't look at story, just don't even look, okay? Then we got A tier. Then we got Borderlands 2 and pre-sequel in that same spot. Okay, gonna be real, Slag sucked. Slag was a terrible element in the game. Do not argue me that it's terrible. It was annoying. OP10, you know this if you played this. If you did not run OP10 with Slag, you're screwed. If you did not play Gunzerker, Saren, or Zero, you're screwed. I don't want to hear that. There's no one to argue against me on that point. So with that being said, pre-sequel and Borderlands 2 in the same spot. Okay, even bump it down to even make it worse to a C tier. Okay, and Borderlands 1, it's actually higher than Borderlands 2 and pre-sequel. Okay, B or A, because the story was good. The game was really done well. I didn't have no issues. I think the OP levels, the invincibles, all that was just wonderful. It was the best. So yeah, that's pretty much my ranking system for Borderlands franchise altogether. And I talked about why I stopped playing Borderlands. So I think I left off everything I wanted to say. And I'll see you guys in the next one.